So thank you to you all, first of all, for taking the time to be here. And thank you to the Taos County Chamber of Commerce and True Kids One for working with us on the forum tonight. Our goal here is to ensure that our voters are well informed about the candidates running for mayor this year. The mayor of Taos, of course, plays a critical role in our town. That person is not only the face of the community, but plays a critical role in its operations. And with that, we'll get started. So our first questions come from True Kids One and a student at Taos High School, Isabella O'Donnell Silfverberg. She's a senior at Taos High. So Mayor Baroni, this question will go to you first, and then we'll go in alphabetical order. So Isabella says, Taos has an affordable housing problem. Not only is there a lack of affordable rentals, but real estate prices are too high for many people working in Taos to buy a home, making it very difficult for these people to make a long-term investment that keeps them here. The situation creates great challenges to continue life here in Taos for me and many of my peers. What steps would you take to incentivize students such as myself to stay in Taos and build the community here?
So Isabella, thank you for the question. Great question. You know, our biggest thing is, as we look at it, is affordable housing at the current rate. And we have continued to do the things that we can to, I guess, to minimize the impact on our community. So we did pass an affordable housing resolution, or I'm sorry, not an affordable housing resolution, but a so that we can limit the number of affordable houses that are available by, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit tied up here, by having an opportunity to really look at what our affordable housing market is doing. So we passed a resolution to minimize the number of long-term rentals. So we moved it from 600 to 120 so that there will be more opportunities for long-term rentals. We also freed up 30 lots for Habitat Humanity to build additional houses on. And we are currently working, we just in the last day or two are working with TSV. They hired a new person there, is a private public partnership coordinator. And we do have a number of lots, a number of opportunities. The Mary Medina building. We also have a piece of property out by the Youth and Family Center that is slated to be built for affordable housing. We also built a 72-unit affordable 1, 2, and 3 bedroom complex. And we will try to do the very best we can to build and to facilitate, but we need partners. The town is not in the affordable housing market, but we can have partners in this from the county, from the Ski Valley, from the region, but we can do it by supplying the land, supplying hookups of electricity and water so that we can move affordable housing forward for all our generations to come, because we see it as a problem.
That's time, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Pasquale, you're up next.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Isabella, for your question. Let me start with a little story. When I was teaching high school and Strong at Heart was taking place, Matt and community builders came into my AP economics class and asked everybody in there, how many of you would like to stay in Taos? And just about everybody raised their hand. And then he asked another question, how many of you are going to stay in Taos? And just about everybody put their hand down. And Isabella, that's because, you know, right now it's very hard to find a place to live in our home and in our community. The answer, I believe, lies in a community land trust. This is a kind of a transformational organization that the town can be a partner with, and use the land underneath the homes to keep prices stable. You know, I think Habitat for Humanity is a great program, but what happens, somebody gets in, they get to buy their first home at an affordable price. But after a few years go by, they can turn around and sell it at market prices. So what becomes an affordable home for one person really turns into a home that's sold for, I mean, now they're going for $500,000. And a community land trust would be really great because it helps keep the prices stable, and it allows the next person to come in and get an affordable home and use that mortgage payment that they pay every month to build equity. Right now, if you're in a rental or if you're in one of the low-income housing projects, you're paying your paycheck every month and then it goes away. You never see it again. And we never get people out of poverty because they're paying their paycheck and living paycheck to paycheck. So I believe the answer lies in a community land trust.
Thank you, Pasquale. Genevieve, you're up next.
Thank you. I just want to say first and foremost, it's a real honor to be here tonight having this conversation with all of you. I appreciate all of these gentlemen, and I'm really happy to be involved in this conversation. And I'm really grateful that we have some questions coming from the youth, because I've been political since I was a teenager, because growing up in Taos was hard. And Isabella, thank you for this question. I'm going to answer it just a little bit differently than these other candidates, because I heard a slightly different question. It's not just about housing. And yes, the inventory of homes in our community is really substandard. And there are lots of things that we need to do to address the inventory of homes in our community. But I also heard this question as asking for how we're going to keep kids here. And that to me is, how are we going to make them excited about living here? And I have a niece who recently left town and said that Taos was a nowhere town where people went nowhere. And that's a reasonable perspective to have when the economy doesn't provide a real living and there aren't opportunities to get a really robust education and to compete in the marketplace of the world out there. So I'd like to see our community work towards having more educational opportunities, not just one four-year university, but if we could get a couple here, that would be excellent. It would be excellent to build a traditional arts and crafts school with a pipeline to work, to do more tech training like's going on at the Hive, and to also do more workforce training for laborers like welders and plumbers. Those are things I'd like to see, as well as supporting training in film, like True Kids 1. As the film industry comes to New Mexico, it would be great to get more of our kids employed there.
Thanks, Genevieve. Dustin?
Hey guys, thanks for coming out. I think the question on low-income housing within the town is actually a larger question. And I think it's one of the things Pasquale is really speaking about quite a bit. It's the separation between what's happening in the county and what's happening in town. You know, a lot of housing in town is spoken for, and it's generational, and it's handed down family to family. That's not a good or a bad thing. It's just how it is. We don't have a lot of space within the town boundaries to do all of the things that we want. You know, to accommodate the, what was it, 1,200 families that are looking to have new places to live. There's not that much space. We just don't have it. So we need to decide what kind of housing units we want to build, and if the county wants to get in on building low-income housing, great. If the town wants to continue with its incentivization for small-scale, multi-purpose homes, that's great too. I think the real important part is to focus on how we how those neighborhoods end up looking, so that we don't lose our sense of space. You know, there's a real style question in my mind that needs to be answered. Thanks.
Okay, so the second question Isabella had is, the pandemic has forced students to learn online, which I can tell you from firsthand experience causes many of us to feel disconnected and even depressed. And yet, on the other hand, this online world opens up important new pathways for learning and creating. In my opinion, connectivity and inspiration are essential aspects of building a healthy, thriving community. As mayor, what would you do to encourage youth to use media and technology creatively and in ways that benefit both their learning and the town? So last time we started with Mayor Baroni, so this time we would start with Pasquale.
Thanks, John, and thank you, Isabella, for the question again. You are right, technology is huge, but it is a double-sided sword, right? We've all been staring at the screens for the past couple of years, and it's good to get outside sometimes. But the issue of technology in our community is a pathway for us to create economic opportunities. And I think it starts with the skill building, making sure that we are providing the right coursework in our school district to make sure that students have the skills to code, to type, to understand how the internet and how technology really work. I can tell you that I wish I had learned coding when I was a kid. I probably wouldn't be running for office. I would be working for Silicon Valley or something, because there are really great opportunities in that field. And I'm excited that you're thinking about this because it's very important. And what I would do as mayor is partner with our school district and UNM Taos to make sure that we are offering this coursework. So that way we are creating the opportunities, and also to help build an entrepreneurial mindset. Because what might be a fun game that you develop could turn into a huge multi-million-dollar business. I think about Flappy Bird. If you remember that game, Isabella, you might be a little young, but Flappy Bird was just this huge hit. It cost $1 to download and sold, I don't know how many millions and millions of games and downloads on people's phones. And whoever invented that game, super simple game, created some real opportunities for themselves. And I hope to see one of those here in Taos. Thank you.
Thanks, Pasquale. Genevieve?
Thank you. Thank you for this question, Isabella. It's fun to think about the answer for you. Yeah, media is the world we live in right now, and I have watched quite a few young people really struggle with learning over the last year, not being fully engaged in the classroom environment. And at the same time, the internet makes learning so much easier because we just have so much more information available to us. And so finding a balance between using the internet and also having real relationships with the people in our lives, that's going to be important for all the young people who are growing up in this technological world. Ways that I would like to see the town encourage creative media use for students would be to support programs like TK1, which teaches kids how to use these kinds of tools and resources in a way that shares information and maybe even tells a story that's more creative and personal. I'd also like to see the town maybe participate in something that created the See Something, Say Something app, which was produced by some kids here in Taos, and that was picked up by, I believe, by Verizon and has been sold and is a pretty valuable app for young people. So if we could find a way to do more creative sort of projects where we invite kids to be inventors and then we help them get their product to market, that would be really fun. I'd like to see that.
Thank you. Dustin?
Let's see. First of all, I'd say to Isabella, don't worry, you're doing great. Second piece would be, the high school and UNM are working hard to keep the digital media program going, and that's going really well. The infrastructure to support that kind of growth is here in town, and I think what the mayor's office could do is kind of lean into creating opportunities for kids to flex those skills in the public. It's not anything more than invitations to come and do things. We have a fantastic town, and we have lots of fantastic events, and just inviting kids to come and participate in those events I think is pretty much what the mayor's office wants to do. The town doesn't want to get involved in any kind of business on that end, but we do want to support it. And I think one of the main things that we can do to support the digital arts going forward is, invite them into the community to keep going.
Thanks, Dustin. Mayor Baroni?
Thank you, Isabella. And, it's a great opportunity. I have 9 grandchildren. And, I watched some of them struggle on the internet. I have watched other ones flourish on internet and, especially with the school system. But there is a lot of opportunities for jobs in that field, and working with UNM, working with some of our upper education so that we can continue to move forward. But we also have to work with the providers, because as you know, sometimes in our community, the links and our broadband and different entities aren't quite as strong. We want to make sure that we have interconnectivity within the whole community. I know there's still some outlying areas that do not have really good internet. So we want to make sure that those people are really connected so that there's an opportunity. Do you know that our water tanks and our sewer tanks, we can watch the levels, and we hire people to watch the levels of water, watch how the water is screened at our sewer plant. So there is an opportunity within the town of Taos to actually use those skills. The other skill is through the movie industry, and we will continue to try to get our movie industry here. We are working with a liaison currently to try to better that communication skill and those jobs that are created here. There's a Brown Rice, there's a number of those companies that use that. And I know of a number of people now during the pandemic that have moved to our community, and they're in the $100,000 range. So again, there's opportunities to use these skills and actually make a living at it. So I look forward to that educational component of this. And I just want to say, we will together, we can make it happen. We can just work with UNM and our providers. Thank you.
Thanks for that answer, Mayor Baroni.